Alright, I'd like to start off by showing a clip. Alright, that goal was scored by Marcelo Balboa of the Colorado Rapids, and it's the most famous goal in Rapids history. It was actually voted MLS Goal of the Year that year. And John Meyer at the Denver Post, he interviewed Marcelo Balboa about it later, and Balboa actually says that he doesn't even remember the goal because he had actually received a concussion earlier in the game and he shouldn't have even been playing at the time. Concussions are a very serious topic, especially in sports. According to the Journal of Athletic Training, approximately 300,000 sports-related traumatic brain injuries occur each year. Today, I'll use my personal experience from receiving a concussion to talk about what exactly a concussion is, how people get them, the symptoms that can help to identify a concussion, and finally, the treatment and recovery involved with getting a concussion. So let's start off by what a concussion is. This summer, I was playing soccer with some friends in the gym, and I got hit in the head by a ball that someone shot towards the goal. It actually wasn't that bad. I had some ringing in my ear, but I didn't think much of it at the time. According to the Center for Disease and Control, a concussion is caused by a bump, blow, or jolt to the head that can change the way the brain normally works. A lot of people think that a concussion is actually a bruise to your brain, but it's actually not at all. Really what it's caused by is your brain being rotationally accelerated. And this is in William Meehan's book, Kids, Sports, and Concussions. And basically what rotational acceleration means is that your brain is accelerated, so something comes and hits your head, and it's accelerated in this way. And it's rotation accelerated because it's connected to your neck, so it's kind of like rotated in a circular motion. And what this does exactly is a little bit hard to understand, and something that I don't fully understand, but basically your brain relies on the alignment of potassium and sodium in the nerves to send out different brain signals to the rest of your body, and this rotational acceleration throws off that alignment. And it actually takes a little while for those to realign, which is why people often experience symptoms for several days or weeks. So back to the story. When I was hit in the head, I didn't really think anything of it at the time, but about 30 minutes later I started to get blurry vision, which is something that I commonly get when I play soccer from dehydration. So I sat out for a while and drank a lot of water, and about 45 minutes later the blurry vision went away, so I started to drive home, and I had a small headache at the time, but as I started driving I got a little bit disoriented. The headache got worse and worse. I was having trouble focusing on the road. At that time I decided to pull over and just be safe. Figured it wasn't a good idea to drive at that time. And eventually my parents brought me to the hospital, and I got sick to my stomach 2 times that night. And we also noticed that I had slower and slurred speech, and I was just having trouble focusing in general. And these are just the concussion symptoms that I experienced, but there's actually a whole list here. This is a pamphlet from US Soccer. It lists all the symptoms of a concussion, and they are headache or pressure in the head, nausea or vomiting, balance problems or dizziness, double or blurry vision, bothered by light, bothered by noise, feeling sluggish, hazy, foggy or groggy, difficulty paying attention, memory problems, confusion, and just does not feel right. So that clearly is a list a little bit too long for someone to memorize, but basically what you need to know is that when a player is hit in the head and they don't feel right, or just something feels a little bit abnormal, they should see their trainer, and if there's no trainer available, they should probably go to see a doctor. There's a variety of methods that are used to identify a concussion, and at Taylor University we have our athletic trainer, Dr. Jeff Marcy, and he chose to give the soccer team a baseline test and the baseline test basically will test our brain memory and cognitive function, and then if a player gets a concussion or they have a suspected concussion, they can take that test and it'll give the trainer a good idea of if they actually got a concussion or not. It's also helpful in determining if they're ready to return to playing. So that brings us into recovery. Recovery is very important because when a player is recovering from a concussion still, if they get hit in the head a second time, it can actually cause permanent brain damage. So it's really important to take the proper time to recover. In William Meehan's book, he talks about the 2 types of rests that are needed in recovery, and those are physical rest and cognitive rest. Physical rest obviously means just taking a break from anything that exerts your body, so taking a break from your sport. And the other type of rest is cognitive rest, which is basically taking a break from anything that causes you to focus really intensely with your brain. So anything like reading or schoolwork or things like that, you should take a break from those. And those are necessary for recovery, and if you do those right, you can actually speed up your recovery process. These 3 areas that are monitored to determine if an athlete is ready to return to their sport, and those are symptoms, balance, and cognitive function. And even after all 3 of these are returned to normal, there's usually an extra rest period that's prescribed just to make sure that they're fully recovered and you're not risking any permanent brain damage. For me, the doctor said after all symptoms had gone away that I was supposed to take an extra week off, and that's just to make sure that week is really worth it, just in case you get hit in the head if you were to be playing then. Yeah, so in conclusion, a concussion is caused by any blow or jolt to the head, which rotationally accelerates the brain, throwing off the alignment of sodium and potassium. And a variety of symptoms can be noted, but basically if anyone feels different after the hit in the head, they should go to see a doctor. And rest is really the key to recovery. Athletes should only return if it is determined that they are completely recovered and they won't risk any permanent brain damage.
Very informative.